Come stop and take a trip down on my block, where you see hidden potential, young minds sharper than Ginsu, and ain't afraid to speak their mind if they got something against you. We standing with you, we tackle issues like civic pride. Hate will cease to exist, let's put our differences aside. From my side to your side, from Dutchtown to South Side, from Penrose to North Side, from Benton Park to Old North, the West End to West Side. We blessed when we step out, we stand down, rise up, stand together, wise up.
This is StitchCast Studio, produced by St. Louis Story Stitchers in St. Louis, Missouri.
This week, our StitchCast sits down to have a conversation about youth and addiction with community activist Hassan Shariff in this live edition of StitchCast Studio.
They say who that, but you already knew that. That be them story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches.
Hello, everybody under the sound of my voice. I want to thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of StitchCast Studio. I'm your host, Brandon Lewis, and I am accompanied by a couple of our senior members of our StitchCast. How you feeling?
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm feeling good. How you feeling?
Fire. I'm good. Thank you. What's good, bro?
What's up, man?
Bro, why are you like that?
What's good, bro? I'm chilling too.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today we have somewhat of a heavy topic. You know, anytime we talk about mental health, you know, things tend to get passionate, things tend to get real, and that's okay because this is a safe space. Today, not only will we be talking about mental health, but we'll be diving into the connections that mental health has with addiction and the effects of addiction and whatnot. And again, as an audience, if you are interested, we do have a mic and we will open the floor for questions as the podcast goes on. But starting out, we have a very special guest, somebody that's worked with us several times. We got brother Hassan Shariff with us. How you feeling, boss?
I'm feeling good.
Yeah, thank you for coming.
Great.
Thank you for coming, man. Let's just dive right into it. How did you get to where you at right now? And I know this answer, but why are you the perfect guest to discuss mental health and addiction?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Story Stitches and you guys for inviting me to talk about such a deep topic. I've too been addicted to drugs and alcohol and homelessness, and I'm compassionate about what I do. I see what's going on. I've been a peer specialist in the state of Missouri since 2015. And so I really, once I got myself together, I saw the need that my community and my city and my region, I needed to give back what was freely given to me. So I hit a bottom. And when you hit a bottom, that means you get tired. You want to try to go back and help somebody else that's suffering out there. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of it with our youth in our neighborhoods with their parents. And so a lot of times everybody wants to say what the youth are doing wrong, but I work with the parents. So.
And speaking of working with parents and speaking of giving back, what are some of the ways that you give back? What are some of the ways that you help people that are in the situation that you manage to get out of?
Well, you know, I go into schools as well as the jails. And so mainly I go in my neighborhood. I'm from the Wells, Goodfellow, Hamilton Heights area, where it's a lot of violence, it's a lot of drugs, a lot of open air drug markets. But one of the things I do is I talk to the people in the neighborhood every day, on every block, and try to get them to understand that what we're doing is not right. I can't really make nobody stop doing something, but try to show them that it is a way out. And so when I work with organizations like Queen of Peace, Salvation Army, the Empowerment Family Center where I work at now, I'm kind of the coordinator, the housing coordinator over a men's house, where when you get out of treatment, there are places where you can go to get the support that you need. And these houses are safe environments where we have resources for people that would like to get their own apartment. But they are sober living places for women and men, so that when you stay here and you stay clean for up to a year, the Show Me Hope program will help pay for housing for these people. The apartment, they'll have 2 years rent free. So there's things going on in our region that everybody needs to know about, instead of just downplaying everything and saying what the youth are not doing or what their parents are not doing in the schools and things like that. So I go into schools and talk about this stuff as well.
And we are going to circle back to recovery housing once we get into the different resources that are available for addicts. You talked about hitting a bottom. What was that like for you?
Wow. When I hit my bottom in 97, I think my clean date is 2001, January the 15th, and I haven't used since. What it took for me, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's big. I wasn't saying that for no applause, but I'm proud of myself because, you know, if you don't tell yourself and look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that you're a worthwhile individual, nobody else is gonna do it for you. So I had to go through what I had to go through, and I still go through stuff today. You know what I'm saying? Going to meetings, calling my sponsor. I'm in a 12-step program. I don't tell everybody that. Anonymity is important to me. Mm-hmm. So what we talk about here, I kind of like leave it here, but you know, social media takes stuff and they just go with it. But my bottom for me was in 97 when I got shot 7 times. Mm-hmm. Coming from the Rams Club, and I was using drugs. I was smoking crack. And I happened to come through a gangway, and a guy cornered me and asked me was I out here fighting, and I wasn't even in the fight. So you're guilty about association in the neighborhood where we come from. And so everybody in our neighborhood was gang affiliated, things like that. But me, I wasn't never in no gang, but I would always hang out around them. By me being associated with them, I got shot. Mm. And I had the dope in my hand. So when I came out the gangway, I put it in the flower pot and I fell on the porch. Mm. That still wasn't enough for me because that was in 97, March 1997 at 10:07. I'll never forget it. And I think one of the things when you hit a bottom, like when you sleeping on the streets and you come from a good home, I didn't come from no broken home. You know, I came from a good family. My grandfather was a hard worker. He made sure everybody had a place to stay. But me, I chose the streets and the streets didn't choose me. So the rest is history. I skied off and just went deeper and deeper into my addiction. And then in 99, 2000, 2001, my grandmother took me back to the Harbor Light. And then that's when it hit me. I was like, man, what I'm doing here, I should have been in Grambling playing ball. I had a scholarship to go play football. I didn't even go. Mm. So I have to tell my story like that to tell the truth. That's how I got on the road to recovery. Wow. And then the program at the Harbor Light, it was like a 3-month program. They say, how long you been here? I've been here almost 18 months. I was loving it because I was, you know how you get yourself back together. It's like, it's time for you to go. I was like, I ain't strong enough yet. He's like, yes, you are. You're strong enough. You got almost 2 years clean. Mm. Then the next thing you know, I started working there. Then I started working in the field. So I've been connected to recovery ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Y'all know what time it is. It's time for another StitchCast Studio Art Interlude. That's right, let's pick the city up. This week, we have a Story Stitch's original spoken word piece.
I can't sit in a room in silence. My thoughts talk to me, filling my head with my deepest worries and my deepest fears, vexing my heart, not allowing me to be at peace with my current circumstances. It saddens me. My only escape is my pen and paper and the art I produce. The only quietness I hear is when I finally release, when I finally speak, when I finally open up. When my thoughts intrude my mind involuntarily, I am finally able to focus. My art is my sacred place, my quiet time, the time when I feel the most alive, like life is finally worth living. The time when my heart cries to be released from the pain of this present world, but I don't listen. I just put the pain I feel into my art. I just express myself through my art. I just feel free through my art because that's where freedom meets me. That is where I'm able to finally express myself without bounds because I'm too complex to put in a box anyway. My mind doesn't work the same as everybody else's, but I'm so blessed that God gave me a creative mind. Mental illness isn't fiction and mental health isn't unimportant. We just have different stories. We give God something that seems like a different glory. I don't speak from a place of ignorance. I understand PTSD, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, depression, and some form of addiction because this is my experience and I have lived in it. I know what it's like to deal with trauma that's so deep you can't even live or think the same. Trauma that has you stuck in time. I know how it feels to be in a place where you know you're not okay, you know you're letting yourself go, but to everyone else, you still look the same. I know what it feels like to be watching videos about mental health or mental illness and you relate to everything they say, but you think that you're just tripping because most of your family acts the same way. I know what it's like to know, but you're not sure because you haven't seen a psychiatrist, or if you did, it seems like none of them diagnosed you right. Maybe it's because you're smart. Maybe it's because you're nice. Maybe it's because you're pretty, and to them, you don't fit the stereotypes. I'm here to tell you that no matter if you're black or white, mental health is important, and I know because of how terribly not taking it serious has affected my life.
While you were suffering with your addiction and before you hit your bottom, did you have allies, people that were trying to help you or trying to
Of course.
get you out of it?
Of course, I had allies. My grandfather was one of my biggest allies until he died. But I met Mr. McFarland and Dr. Jerry Marks and Kay Tansey at Catholic Charities. When they came and did a Fatherhood Initiative program, they came to the Salvation Army. I met Chester Deans and Halbert Sullivan. These were guys that I come up under when I first got clean, and I learned a lot from them. And wow, man, leaving that place, and really, if you ever get your own apartment, if you ever had that experience, everybody was like getting cars and girlfriends and all that. I was like, nah, I got to get a sponsor. I got to get my recovery under my feet. I need a place to stay so that I can go back and help my mother like I do today. I go over there and help her. But it's something about a man. We got a man problem because if men don't see another man, how would he know how to be a man? A young man don't see another man being a man and respecting women and obeying the law. They gonna do the same thing like I did. I saw them doing the same thing. Not that I was following them. I just wanted to be like those guys. Mr. McFarland, my grandfather, they were doing things. They had the Operation Safe Street. They was a part of block unit captains and stuff like that. But you know, when you're on drugs and alcohol, you don't think about none of that stuff at that time. But then when I got clean, I said, wow, maybe I can do that in the neighborhood because ain't nobody was doing it. Nobody's doing it. I've never changed no job to where if it ain't dealing with our community and our youth and addiction and homelessness, I don't even take the job. Now I did take a job doing the gun de-escalation, things like that. But like I was telling you, if you don't have the right worker, the model is great. What they had here in the city, it was great. It brought the violence down in my neighborhood, and it's still, you go over there right now today, if you look at my neighborhood where we did the cure violence, you see a difference. And you can tell the difference in the people.
So I wanted to ask, as a person with experience and who's worked with people suffering from it, how do you, as the friend or family member or someone that you care about, like how do you approach a person with an addiction that you want them to get better with, or you know they need or want help, but you don't know how to approach them the right way? Like,
great question, and I got a good answer for you. Show them some compassion, show them some love. One thing about people, when they under the influence of drugs and alcohol, they really got some mental issues going on as well. Because a lot of times most people come from broken homes, and so what Dr. McFarland used to do, he said, you deal with the hardcore people and I'll deal with those. Because he had the PhD. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you, how to get through that because I never been through that.
Exactly.
And I always would refer someone to a professional who can really take on that, question. But me personally, I've had people in my family die. Just recently, last year, I had a cousin. She overdosed and they saved her. They hit her with the fentanyl. And when I found out that she was messing with it, it kind of hurt me to my heart because she was real smart too. Right. And she got out the hospital and she went right back to it and she died. And so then I had another cousin. He was a truck driver. Truck drivers, they tend to go back and forth with addiction because they on the road a lot. And he did the same thing. So I think basically the love that you show to your people, especially people that's homeless and drug addicted, don't be hard on them. You know what I'm saying? Because they sick. They don't know no better. And, you got to show people love. And then you got to educate them and show them, I could want for you more than you want for yourself, but you got to want it.
Exactly.
It ain't up to me, it's up to you. If you seen me, most of the people who I talk to right now to this day that I've helped, that I know I've helped personally, they'll tell you, oh, he about that life. He's serious, but he ain't gonna play with you. If you playing, then I get out your way. Right. But I don't want to see you die. I get in your face real quick and tell you. and grab you and tell you, man, you tripping. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you got to do that. I'd rather be there to shake you up and shake you out of it than to sit there and watch you die and kill yourself.
Exactly.
So going back to when you say you work with kids, you go to schools and stuff. With the kids that's dealing with parents that's addicted, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you attend to them and their needs and, you know, about their situation? Like, how do you go with that?
Yeah, I got a group of little kids, little guys I deal with. What I do with them, a lot of times you have to take them and show them something different, because that's all they used to seeing is negativity in the neighborhood. Especially if you come from where I come from, around Clara and Wells and all back up in there, Blackstone behind the YMCA right there on Granville and Minerva. Y'all know anything about the West Side?
Right.
That's all they see walking up and down the street is prostitution, crime, violence. What you expect from our youth. But if you take them and show them something different, take them out of their environment, take them out of the element that they in, and show them something like this, then they'll open up. Their minds will open up to some new ideas. That's why I think it's good that what you all are doing here is really needed in all the schools. I know me and Amara, we went to Long International, and we told Miss Payne, you know, you need to meet the story stitchers. They on the move. They going into schools, they performing, they doing stuff all over the city. Y'all been doing this for a minute. Yeah, y'all ain't new to this. And so the kids, they afraid though, because you gotta remember, a lot of times most kids can't leave out their neighborhood because they got enemies over here.
Right. Yeah.
So you gotta be careful how you deal with them.
Facts.
At what point do you let a person go when it's taking a toll on your mental? Like a person who's struggling with an addiction, at what point do you let them go?
You don't really let them go. What you do is you try to pray for them and hope that they stay in the Queen of Peace or the Salvation Army, because I deal with women and men, but most of the time where I work with a lot of women, and it's just me, Pastor John, and John. And John, he works like, he do SATOP, he do the alcoholics, but he deal with the drug addicted people too. But I prefer to work with the guys, the adults, the men, and the women tend to deal with the women. We really don't let them go. We just kind of show them and guide them and maybe have a session with them, like one-on-one or groups. And group therapy is good, where you can get them all together and you pick a topic. Like, say for example, we throw a topic out there, responsibility. What does responsibility mean to you? What it was like for them, where they came from. Because we're dealing with people from all different walks of life. We ain't just dealing with African American people, we dealing with everybody.
So if I could expound on her question a little bit more, at what point, not as a, you know, expert on addiction, but I'm talking about the average person. If I'm dealing with somebody who's suffering from addiction, and because of this addiction they're becoming physically abusive or something, they're not safe to be around, you know what I'm saying? If that's the case, at what point do I say, maybe not, I'm done with this person, but I gotta love this person from a distance because they're having an adversely negative impact on my life and what I got going on?
This is deep. I really appreciate y'all, because I really don't open up and share it with people unless they just like me. And I'm not saying that you all are not addicts or whatever, but it's really for people who really been there and been in abusive relationships. Yeah, I dated a woman with 12 kids, and let me tell you something. She got beat up or in recovery. She got punched in the stomach. He broke her jaw, broke her ribs. And this happened at the Harbor Light where I was working at. And she was a nice lady before he disfigured her. She was real little small lady. And I mean, did nobody do nothing to help her? I was like, that's crazy. That happened over on Natural Bridge in Goodfellow, where all the youngsters called the gas station Murder Mobile. So when he had her in the van and did that to her, I felt like it's a lot of people that go through a lot of things, but they just don't talk about it.
Facts.
And so to really see a person bounce back from that, she's really doing good right now. If you see her, you look at her, you wouldn't even think she's been through all that. But she has a story to tell. And that's how people build the courage to speak out on things in the meetings. Now, some of the meetings are good to talk about certain things, and sometimes it's not, because you never know who's in the meeting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you have to be real careful helping people. Helping people sometimes can hurt you because then people will say you said or you did or you know what I mean. So you have to be real careful.
And also going forward, if there is anything that you aren't comfortable about talking about, we ain't got to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? We'll brush straight past
I'm
it.
good. I'm with family. Y'all family. I
appreciate that.
I'm already done told you everything. I ain't holding back no punches. So, I'm with family. I know Susan. She got my best interest. You know, I like what you all are doing. The organization been around doing this thing. Keep up the good work. People will catch on sooner or later. I just hope they catch on more sooner than later.
Right. Yeah.
What is the signs of a person who's having addiction, or what's the proper way to point that out?
I was waiting on that question too. Wow, I was just with a consumer yesterday, and I was sitting there listening to him, and he was like, "Yeah, man, you know, Hassan, man, I just need, I need to get myself together. I want to come in the house," and I was like, "Oh yeah." I said, "How long you been clean?" "Oh, I've been clean for a minute, what's a minute?" Cause sound like to me you high. If I drop you right now, are you clean? He got quiet, right? And I said, I don't mean no harm. I'm just looking at your body language. You know, you while you talking to me, you doing this. That ain't good. But who am I to judge? With a 4-step like mine, if I don't work a 4th, I drink a 5th. You get it? Alcohol is a drug. I don't drink. I don't smoke. And I don't have nothing against nobody who do, but alcohol is a trigger for me. I know my disease. So when I see it on you, it's apparent to me that I see me in you. I see everything you doing, I did.
It shows when you're not aware of yourself.
That's it. If you don't tell on your disease, it'll tell on you. And so that's why you got to be careful. It's a price to pay for the company that you keep. Because when people doing drugs and alcohol, they scandalous. I'm just telling you straight up. They don't care nothing about us being in here doing this. People using drugs. The Blue Mire project's right around the corner. If it was jumping like it used to jump, those cars out there probably be getting broken in if we don't go out there and check on them sooner or later. But by the area being what it is now, that's done changed. But the Harbor Light right down the street. I used to be in that place right down the street.
Wow.
So you just got to be careful. And when you see that, you just kind of be vigilant, be alert that this person is really he really asking you for help, but he wants you to put him in the house. Now check this out. I'm going to put you in the house with people who are already clean. Why would I want to put him out there with them? They straight.
Exactly.
But if I put him out there with them, at some point, he going to either rob one of them or corrupt them or do something
Make
stupid.
one of them relapse or something.
And they're going to be looking at me like, why you put this dude over here with us?
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to be real careful, but not being judgmental, but just watch for the signs. Sweating, scratching, snide. There's all kinds of signs. And people good at covering it up.
Okay, so going back to people in the house and putting him in the house or whatever, is it like stages of what you do before you let him come in the house? Because if he's saying, okay, I want to be clean, but you still no, I can still see you doing a little something. Do you put him to a couple tests or put him to a different program? What do you do?
Well, I have a relationship with drug court, the commissioners, parole and probation, and what they do, they'll send them to treatment first. Treatment is 30 days. If you go to long-term treatment, it could be 30 to 60 to 90 days. But once you got 30 days, I'll take a chance with a person and put them in the house. But now if I suspect you are using or something like that, when I come by and check the houses, because they have rooms and then they have a board and they have their names on it. They got housing for women too. So this ain't just about the men, it's about the women too. Because the women, I think, go through more addiction than anybody. I think they get the worst of it, especially when they out there walking the streets, getting beat up, drugs, stuff like that, overdose. But I focus on the men. But if I see a woman out there needs some help, I definitely call one of my co-workers to help. But to put people in those houses, I think for me, the house should be a safe environment. I think people that go in those houses should be clean. And if they not clean, you get a verbal warning from me. You violate the rules, it's a write-up. Then the next it's 3 strikes. It's like anything, Try to give a person a chance. I don't kick them right out in the streets.
Right. But
we'll find some place for them to go, places for people, or Salvation Army, something like that.
Yeah. So there's separate resources, separate housing for people that are like actively using.
Yeah.
But this house that we talking about is more so for if you're on that path to recovery, we can help you get further down the road type situation.
I'm telling you, the Show Me Hope program is so awesome. I wish it was around when I was coming through. For real. I mean, I see the apartments they getting, they like nice. And then all you got to do is come and see Miss Octavia. She don't mind me breaking her name. She worked at the workhouse for over 20-some years. She's been clean 32 years. She's phenomenal with the women. She's awesome. You ought to see her. There was a lady in the office today, and she was so happy. She started crying. We was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" She said, "I got my apartment." I was like, "Oh, that's deep." So it's hope.
Yeah.
You can't say St. Louis don't have hope. St. Louis got a lot of hope. We just got to find the right people and find our niche and stay with them. You got people that like to jump around and work in silos. When I feel like all of us just need to try to work together, and the ones who don't want to work with you, that's fine. We ain't gonna knock them.
At least work.
But I've always been, I've always been the type of person. Don't put your mouth on their name. Just do your work.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
So the housing, what do you do when it's like a single parent household and they have children? Is the housing just for the adults, or can the children come there too, or do you have something for the kids itself? Because some of them do have kids. What do you do? Like,
well, y'all got some great questions. That's good.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Glad I got answers for you too. It'd be tough trying to answer some of them questions. Family Haven out on Page. They deal with the women and the children. That's Salvation Army again. I'm glad you brought that up. We do have women that live in the house across the street from the center where we at. And sometimes the kids be in DFS custody. And so the caseworker will bring the kids so that they can see the mother, and the mother can spend time with the kids at the center, in the gym. And once she gets herself together and get the apartment, that will blossom into a family coming back together again. Once they see that she's maintaining her sobriety, her recovery, then she gets on her feet, get that Show Me Hope program, get that apartment, and then she get her kids back. But, if you dibbling and dabbling and you slipping and sliding and all this other stuff, that sets you back.
That was a good question. I would like to open the floor for if there's an audience member that has a question, you can step up to the mic.
I'm sure that there are people that deal with addiction, maybe not the same substance, but some do deal with substance abuse. Is there a help for youth, or people that are under that age of whatever the ages that you have to be to get into some of these homes? What can we do for those people? And there are activities that we can get involved in to maybe counteract what it is that they're doing.
Another good question. Cedar Point in St. Charles is a good one. Let me see. Preferred Family, Donica on the south side on Gravois. They got a lot of young people that they cater to. And there's other resources as well. That's a good question. To really find out where a young person's mind is to be dealing with anything that's sophisticated as far as heroin, fentanyl, crack. Most of the young people smoke weed, but they do this lean and this other stuff. They do a whole lot of stuff. Pills. I find that our young people are more immune to violence under the influence than anything. They like to steal cars and go joyriding, stuff like that. If we could find a way to cut into that, that would bring a little bit of that down. So you got to meet people where they at. Young people, you get a soccer ball, some pizza, take them to the park, let them, run around and have fun, show them something different. Take them fishing. I let them play with we had a what do you call little things that go up in the air, the camera on it.
A drone?
Yeah. You play with them with that, like you holding that right there like that. And drone go all the way up and And they's like, wow, how you do that? You got them.
Yeah.
You gotta get kids to buy into what you're doing, but you gotta stay consistent with them.
Right.
If you stay consistent with them, that grows on them. Cause then next time they say, Mr. Hassan, where that drone at? So every time I come in the neighborhood, it's, where the dog at? I got German Shepherd, right? So they always like, they wanna know, where you cutting grass today? So I get them like that. And you get them to buy into what you doing, cause they see you doing something positive. They gonna follow you.
Fire.
You know how some people have their way of approaching their addiction, right? What was the reason for hitting that addiction, other than like family trauma and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I can't jump inside nobody's brain and, and figure out why they did what they did. But, you know, from what I saw growing up over where I grew up at, I think a lot of people just was doing it because everybody else was doing it, and then monkey see, monkey do. But I mean, some people stayed in it longer than they intended to, and you know, and you got caught up in the grip. And when you get caught up in the grip, you know, it's like a pair of vice grips. Once you clamp them vice grips down, that disease don't let you go, man. You know, heroin is a physical drug, straight up. That's something you got to have that, you know. And me personally, before it got that bad, I was like, nah, I don't want that. Shooting up and your hands and arms and feet and legs get so big, got all these sores on you, because we help a lot of people, and I've seen a lot. It's a scary sight. That's why we call it the horrors of addiction. And sometimes if you don't catch it sooner than later, they have to start cutting limbs off, like your foot and your toes and things like that. It's just sad, man, that they're not getting older, they're getting younger. It's people been using drugs for a long time. I mean, I'm 23 years clean, and it's still people using that I use with. They still use them. So I'm like, I just pray for them. And they look bad too, and I'm just like, man, come on, man, let me help you, man. And he's like, nah, I don't want no help right now. Let me get $3.
So, I know I'm not the expert, but from conversations that I've had and things that I've heard, it's like 1,000,001 reasons that people get hooked to something. You know, like, or at least you would think that it's normally somebody's reality being too hard for them to deal with and them looking for an escape. But sometimes it be they thinking they taking one drug and it's really another, or something like that, as is with the case of fentanyl. You know, like it's not. There are people that are addicted to fentanyl now, but like when fentanyl was first killing people, a lot of people was thinking they was buying weed. You know what I'm saying? It ended up being laced with fentanyl and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it really boils down to people not knowing what they putting in their body. But my question would be, if I'm the addict or developing an addiction to something, like we talked about signs that you could look for in users. If I'm the person that's taking steps towards becoming addicted, what signs do I look for? How do I know that I'm becoming addicted to this certain thing before it gets that bad?
Well, like I say, it's a price to pay for the company that you keep. Just like with DMX. You know, you around that circle and everybody's smoking, you got to be aware of who you're around and what certain people smoke, because that's how I got caught. Same way. And once I hit it, it was like, this ain't that. And I was like, whoa, you know, what is this? And I was messed up. Remember that movie when Chris Tucker was running down the street and the dude was laughing at him and he was in his underwear? I think that was Boys
Friday.
Yeah. I was almost like that, but I was like, man, I ain't even do all that. But my point is, once I did it, and when y'all wasn't around no more, it's like, oh, I gotta go find that. So that's what made me get hooked on it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then I started doing it without y'all knowing. Then, you know, you was a closet, they call you a closet smoker or whatever. Cause I was afraid of the pipe and all that other stuff and the needles, but I tried it, I ain't like it. And I was like, man, this ain't me. I've been good in school and sports and all this, and here I am, I'm a bum, homeless. smoking crack. Oh man, I was embarrassed.
I feel that.
And then, you know, you get to a point where you don't even care who know you get high now. Everybody know, man, you tripping. You know you shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
But you know, it happened. It happened to the best of us. I know a whole lot of professional people who went to college and had masters and everything. They was out there, they ain't had nothing. Like you made a good point. Look at DMX.
Yep.
DMX was a talented dude, man.
Yep.
But he got caught up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of them people out there like that got money, that get caught up. But I think what happens is when we see people closest to us and it hit them, it kind of does something to us. Like, man, I gotta help. What can I do to help?
So before we close out, are there any resources for people that are suffering from addiction that we have not went over yet, or that we did go over but that you kind of want to reiterate or like give a condensed list of?
I think this is a good topic. I think it's more young people and parents should be more involved. They should know where the places are just in case if they do need to get their folks some help. I know like right down the street is Midtown. It's like right up the street past Compton is the Salvation Army. They got a veterans program and they got Midtown treatment. It's an inpatient treatment. They got outpatient. They do inpatient. I used to work there. When you go in, you don't have to worry about sharing a room with nobody. You got your own room. But all they ask you to do is attend the groups, the life skill groups. Queen of Peace, which is on Newstead off of Lindell. They have an annex where they deal with a variety of women, like all different walks of life. Just knowing where the help is to get the person the help, I think it's better to have something to share with them than I don't know where you gonna go. You know, that number sticks in my head, the Salvation Army. I'll never forget that telephone number. It's 652-3310. And then that number will take you to any treatment facility in this region. That paper I gave you, my boss she's the chairperson, Eastern Region of Missouri, for the Coalition Treatment Providers. She also makes sure that everybody on our staff is well aware of this addiction, because we know that this addiction is cunning, it's baffling, and it's powerful, and it's insidious. That's the best we can do with our people. We can lead them to the well,
right?
We can't make them drink.
Absolutely. And I want to thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for
absolutely. Anything for you guys. Y'all.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And more importantly than that, thank you for being brave enough to tell your story. Because I know that you are. This ain't the first time I've heard you tell your story. You know what I'm saying? I know that you use it to inspire people. A lot of people would see it as something to be ashamed of or something to hide or whatnot. I love that you, you know what I'm saying, use it to empower people that are in a similar position to the one that you overcame. So I can't thank you enough for that.
Man, absolutely. I'm going to Joliet on the 12th. I'm always asked to speak in Chicago, Detroit, any city that I've been in. I talk about my recovery. I go in the trenches in the hood, and you ought to see the little guys. I actually was talking to some guys from the old block one time, and they was like looking at me like, but you know, they was still on what they was on.
What was
just saying?
Like, how you? So you just went up to O Block
in Chicago?
Yeah. Word. They just let you in.
What you mean? Let me in?
Like, I heard stories like, no, don't come here. Don't come here if you ain't from here.
My people in recovery. Wherever they go, I go.
Felt.
If I'm asked to share, I go.
Felt. Fire.
South side, west side. I got some people, I want to bring them here so they can talk to y'all. These guys are real. They real. But when they look at the big picture and they hear stuff like this, what we doing, they buy into this quick. They really want out. They ain't trying to live like that for real.
Yeah, I feel that.
Don't believe the hype.
I feel that. That's real. That's real. everybody under the sound of my voice, I want to thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of StitchCast Studio. We hope that you found this insightful, that you maybe learned something that you didn't know when you decided to sit down and listen to it. If you're in between the ages of 16 and 25 and you want to know how you can become a part of our StitchCast family, we encourage you to go to storystitches.org, fill out an application. It's absolutely free to fill out. And if you're not in between that age range but you want to know what we got going on next, where's the next place we're going to perform, where are the other podcast episodes, I promise you, if you go to storystitches.org, there's more information up there than what you can handle. So we absolutely encourage you to check it out. Please do so. We want to thank you for listening. That being said, we are StitchCast Studio. I want to thank Brother Hassan Shariff for coming through and sharing a powerful story with us. We are StitchCast Studio, and I am signing off. Your host, Brandon Lewis.
Out. Bye, guys.
Get some cookies in your life.
Oh, my God.
It's always him. It's always him.
We out, man.
Bro, and y'all keep saying my lines. Like, no, stop. Y'all keep saying my line. Listen, do not say we out.
You gotta get it copyrighted, bro.
I say we out.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Bye.
And we out.
Woo!
Have a good one.
Where you get the cookies from, man? What's the deal?
St. Louis Story Stitchers. StitchCast Studio Live is supported in part by an award from the National Endowment for the Arts on the web at arts.gov. Story Stitchers is supported in part by the Lewis Prize for Music's 2021 Accelerator Award. The mission of the Lewis Prize is to partner with leaders who create positive change by investing in young people through music. StitchCast Studio, St. Louis Story Stitchers, and the Center is supported by Kreisberg Arts Foundation as a resident organization. Thank you for listening.
They say who that, but you already knew that. That be them story stitches. Story stitches, story stitches, story stitches, story stitches.